Welcome everyone, my name is Jacob. Thank you for joining me. I just returned from a pretty epic elk hunt in the backcountry solo and wanted to share with you some of the pieces of gear that worked for me, that really helped me during my time out there. And then in a separate video, I'll share with you some pieces of gear that didn't work. So first and foremost, before I ever set foot in the backcountry, running with weight on my back and wearing shoes of this nature, these silly things that look like gloves for your feet. This is a pair of Sagaro. I bought them off Amazon. They were maybe 30 bucks. But the idea is that you're using different muscles within your feet when you run or hike or ruck. You're not running or hiking or rucking on a giant piece of foam as you would with a running tennis shoe. And I think that these types of things were really helpful for me and my feet and the strength of my feet to be able to cover ground and not get tired. So I want to start with that. And also having weight on your back, some sort of weight, whether it's sandbags or something else of that nature. Secondly, I want to talk about my water system. I had a SteriPen. I also had a filter, an inline filter that would attach to a HydroPack. And that filter didn't work. Something was wrong with it. I should have tested it beforehand. But I did have a Life Straw bottle here that I would fill and could drink creek water from this and know that it's getting cleaned. And I had this combined with the SteriPen to really help me put together water in a efficient, effective way. I do want to emphasize that the HydroPack is a fantastic product, and I actually purchased a 3-liter HydroPack that fit into my backpack, and it's one of the first times that I'd never had any issues with a water bladder of this nature. It did not burst. It's a little brown because I put tea in it, so you'll have to ignore that. But it was outstanding. The HydroPack products, I think, are top of the line, and I would highly recommend them. Secondly, I did use my Peaks headlamp. In a previous video, I reviewed it, and I tried this, and I can tell you it worked phenomenally well, regardless of the fact that it might look like a cheap Chinese knockoff. This did really well. The red lamp in this is so incredibly bright that it makes it probably worth the 90 to 100 bucks that you'll spend on it. So I did want to put in a positive plug for the Peaks headlamp because I was a little critical in a previous video, but it does seem to have real merit. My trekking poles, Cabela's. I've had these for years. I've hiked many mountains. I've hiked the Grand Canyon to the top, to the bottom and back to the top. These things have taken a beating, and they were only 40 bucks. And I would encourage you to not overinvest in trekking poles. Those did great. For my camp setup, I had 2 tents, 2 sleeping bags, 2 sleeping pads. This is a $60 River Country Products single-man trekking pole tent. It performed well. It rained. It did not leak. Now, I did prep it in terms of seam seal, etc., but it did really well. It's not great. It's a one-man tent. No one-man tent is going to be a lot of fun to sleep in because it's not much room. But this was my bivvy. I did have a 2-man tent at the vehicle, and that was to give me flexibility. If I needed, I wanted to keep my bivvy stuff in my backpack. And I didn't want to take it out if I did camp at my vehicle. And I did at times camp at my vehicle, and I had that other camp setup ready and available to set up, and it didn't mean I had to dig around in my pack to get this particular tent out. So that performed really well. My boot system worked really well. These are Crispies, but there are a lot of good boots out there. I won't get into that. But these fit me very snug. I normally wear a 10.5. These are a 10, and it's super tight. But with a sock liner and some decent merino wool socks and some super feet insoles. I had zero issues with my feet. I had zero blisters, zero problems, and that's a first for me. And so I would encourage you to think long and hard about your boot system and your setup and what you're going to do. I think the sock liner really helped, and certainly the super feet insole I think was very helpful as well in terms of giving my feet adequate support and structure. I dehydrate my own backcountry meals, and I can tell you every evening it was a game changer to come back, cook this. This is venison or elk, or along with pasta and dehydrated vegetables that I made myself or my wife helped make, and put a little packet of olive oil, and it was incredible. It was such a great, warm, delicious, homemade meal, significantly less expensive than a $15 dehydrated meal, probably healthier as well. These Wrangler pants, hiking pants, I can't recommend them enough. It got down to the 40s, it got up in the 70s, and these, I didn't wear long underwear, I didn't wear anything else but these, and I wore the hell out of them, and they performed great, and they're $20. I've talked about them before, and I can't recommend them enough. And lastly, having a decoy as a solo elk hunter is helpful. I had a cow come in on day 2 to 30 yards after she saw this. Could have shot her, passed on her, but this decoy does help cover your movement. Now, there are other ones that are out there. There's Be the Decoy, which is the little hats. There's the Predator decoy, I think, that attaches to your bow. This is a heads-up decoy. Some sort of decoy, I think, can really help cover your movement, and I certainly will never go on an elk hunt without something of this nature, possibly more next time, just because there are different scenarios where you don't want to have to hold something. You want to be hands-free. But ultimately, those are some of the pieces of gear that really worked on my recent solo elk hunt, and I wanted to share that with you all. Best of luck this hunting season. I hope you all find this helpful. Please like and subscribe, and talk to you again soon.